Hello from ColDesi. Today we are going to do a walkthrough and demonstration of our Avancé 1501C. Next to me you'll also see the Avancé 1201, which is a 12 needle version. It operates relatively the same. There are some differences, but relatively it's the same thing. But today we're going to focus specifically on the 1501. So what you'll be seeing today is, for one, just a walkthrough of the embroidery machine itself. Then we will load a design, sew out a tote bag, show what that process looks like, and then I'll go through a few frequently asked questions and show you a couple other things. So let's jump right into it and take a look at the Avancé 1501. First, I'd like to just give you a quick walkthrough of what the Avancé 1501 looks like. So on the side here, we've got our touchscreen control panel. This is where you're going to control everything that the embroidery machine will do for you. In the front here, this is what's referred to as an embroidery head, right? You may have heard about single head or multi-head embroidery machines. This is what the head is. Essentially, it's got your needles. It's where your thread comes through. This is where we have automatic thread break detection. So if a piece of thread essentially breaks or frays, that this is going to detect it. We've also got tensioning, our thread path, and our 15 colors of thread on the back. I'm going to pepper in some frequently asked questions. One of them is, well, what if I have a design that has more than 15 colors? You can actually do that. You can program more than 15 color changes. You would just swap out some colors mid-design. That's pretty atypical though. You'll be surprised in what you can do with just 15 colors. Here I'll show you an example of something that's got probably 14 or 13 colors in it. So you can see we've inserted a logo. We've got many different shades of blue and tan and brown. There's a lot you can do with 15 colors or less. Most logos are just going to be a few. Next, as we look down here, you're going to see this is where you're going to put in what's your hoops. This is for flat items. They just slide right in. You'll be seeing that shortly. And below here, I've staged up our cap driver. This is for doing caps. And it can do caps side, front, side, even sewing out on the mesh, as you can see on this. And this is all done with one hooping of the cap. So you put this cap on this driver and it can do all the way around the sides. While we're down here, we can look at our stand. So the stand comes with it. It's got wheels and feet to hold it down. It's got some hooks on the side that you could hold some different things. While we're on this side, we'll take a look at this laser. This is going to kind of shoot a laser pointer on where you're going to sew out. We've got a light that we can turn on and off if you need to illuminate and see better down there. And then in the back is where we're going to have our plug. Just plugs into a regular outlet, 110 here in the US. And we're going to have our on and off switch there. And we'll go through a little bit more of this touchscreen as we do our embroidery demonstration. So there's a quick walkthrough of your Avancé 1501. And let's go ahead into making a tote bag. Let's actually do what the embroidery machine does, embroider something. Here we are with our tote bag and a few things we're going to need to start doing our embroidery job. This is a tote bag that we bought wholesale. There's tons of options for all types of things like this. I've also got a piece of backing. This comes in many different options for different types of materials you're going to work with. So this is a really particularly thin one that I'm going to use on this tote bag. You might not even necessarily need backing on this, but whenever I do videos, I like to follow best practices. But if you're doing polo shirts or caps, there's all different types of backing just for that. Essentially what this does is this helps to keep your embroidery stable while it's sewing, but also over time. So if it's being washed and used, it looks the same as the first day it was made. We've also got a hoop. Today I'm going to be using just a standard, what we call tubular hoop. And this is just going to use friction to hold it into place. And the last bit It's just a USB thumb drive. This is one way you can transfer designs over. There's other ways as well, but this is a common way to do it. It's very easy, just pop that right in the side. So let's go ahead and do some hooping. This can be a little intimidating at first, but it's really not that hard to do it all once you get used to it. First step is this has a pocket. I don't want to sew through the entire bag. We want to keep this pocket useful for our customer. So we're going to slide that in. Then I'm going to go ahead and slide my backing over this spot. Now when I'm putting this on the embroidery machine, this little notch right here is going to go into the embroidery machine. So I'm going to put this up because this is where the hole is. We're going to be able to put the embroidery machine in. Now folks will ask, how do I measure this? How do I know I'm in the right spot? Well, in this case, there's some great markings on the side of this bag that line up with these holes. So you can oftentimes use these markings and holes and these lines as straight edges to find where you are. There's other hoop types that have little tick marks in them, or you can measure and use little chalk markers. There's tons of easy ways to do it. But I find whenever possible, if I can use the hoop itself to kind of eyeball where it's gonna go, it's gonna show up in a great spot. Customer's gonna love it. Now for hooping this type of bag, the way that I like to do it is put a little bit of pressure on the top, get that in there. And this way I can just use the force of my hands or the weight of my body to just simply pop it into place. So it goes in pretty easily. Now just a little bit of a fun fact here, when we're doing embroidery, we want this to be tight, right? Not stretching the fabric, but just tight enough. And folks often say, like a drum. It should almost feel like a drum. A little bit of flexibility, but nice and smooth, no wrinkles. And of course, nice and straight too. We want to make sure that all of our lines are lined up where they should be, and this is ready to go on our embroidery machine. The next step we have is just taking our thumb drive, pop it in, takes a second to read. We go in here. We will find our Wildcats logo that you can see right here. Select it, load it into our machine. We can give it a name, rename it if we want to, and now it's saved in. As we exit back into our main screen, you're going to see our logo is highlighted with the name, and now we can start to go through step by steps and getting it ready to go. So step one is we're going to go ahead, and this is all the information about the design, the size, the number of stitches. This is about 2,000 stitches. The position, this little P right here is going to show if it's going to be right side up, turned 90 degrees, upside down, scaling it. It's at 100% the size it was made. We can scale that up or down a little bit if you need it to be slightly big, slightly smaller, etc. So there's various things that can happen on this screen. We don't need to go through it all today. I am going to leave it upside down, and I'm going to explain why in a moment. Then we can go to our colors. Right now it's set to this pink and this yellow, but that's not what we're going to be doing today. What we've done here is every needle is assigned a color, and I'm going to be doing two colors on this. White for the first half of the design, and then red for the second half. This school is black, white, and red are their colors. I'm doing it on a black bag, so I do a white and red logo. And that's good to go. And then naturally our last step is going into the embroidery mode. This is where we would be set for selecting our hoop, etc. We'll go ahead and actually do that now. So this is set here. This looks like it's set for a cap, but we're not doing a cap today. So we're going to go into our hoop, and we're going to choose the hoop that we're doing, which is this one right here. So we select that. It's letting us know that this is going to move and recalibrate down here. We see our hoops popped up, and we see where our design is going to be right there in our hoop. So this is now ready for our next step. Well, I've got my hooped up bag that you saw earlier, and what I'm going to do is we're going to slide it over this arm, like so, into here. Here's that notch, if you remember I talked about that. There we go, in, ready to go. Now I've stepped back a little bit to show you a couple things that are going to happen that are going to involve what we're embroidering and the touch screen. So for one, we need to do what we call a trace. What a trace is doing is we're going to be looking at the needle that we're working with currently, which is set to needle number 1, and we're going to make sure that it is indeed tracing within this hoop. We want to make sure it's going in the right spot. For helping with tracing, we can turn on our laser, and you could probably see this little red dot appear right there. And then we'll go ahead and we'll run our trace. It's literally tracing this outside wall and making sure it's going in the right spot. That looks great to me. We can go ahead and begin our embroidery momentarily. Here we are back at our screen, and I'm going to show you this button on the bottom here. It's red. It means we're not ready to embroider. It's a safety feature. It wants to make sure we're ready to go. So when I turn it on, you're going to see our design is upside down though. When I put the bag on, I don't want it to sew that way. I talked about earlier that I did that on purpose. It's because I want to show you, you can go back. I can go back and I can put it back into the safety mode. I can go back through here. I can flip this in any direction, upside down, sideways, or back where it should be. You can even reverse and mirror in there. I could have also changed the colors, and I can go back here. Now I'll go back into embroidery mode, and it looks right. Upside down the way I want it, and we can go ahead and hit that start button. Stepped back for a full view. Let's get going. Automatically changing the color, beginning our white. Move the light over so you can see. If you needed to get a better view, you could put your light there, or naturally you could turn it off if it's not needed. One thing I'd like to show you is the speed that we're running at. You can increase and decrease while it's running. For various reasons, you might want to go faster or slower. Maybe you're working with a delicate piece of material, you don't want it to shake very much, or maybe you want to get the job done quickly. Here's our first color change. We finished the white, now it's moving over to red. We're all set. We can take this off now, and if we had another bag ready to go, you would have 2 of each hoop, so you could then go ahead and just pop this off, pop the next one on, and hit start. That's all you got to do for production. So let's take this off and look at close up at the finished product. Here's our design all done. The next step is pretty simple. We pop our hoop off just like we put it on. Comes off easily. In the back, we have the back port, make sure we remove that. And then back here, we have that backing that we use. This is a tearaway, so this one we would just rip out. So we pull that out, that's gone. Now this type of material here, you'll see that we've got a little bit of an impression, but that actually particularly either stretches away in a material like this. You can also use an iron or a heat press, but none of this is permanent at all. And I'll show you momentarily. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a real quick iron. Here we are with our finished bag, finished embroidery, clean, crispy, easy to use, looks great, and your customer is gonna love this. I do love embroidery. It's pretty simple to do. It is a really classy look, and it takes a bag that only costs a few dollars and elevates it to a very profitable product. Well, here I am with our finished bag, and I've got a bunch of goodies to show you because I said I was gonna do some FAQs. So let me put this bag down and show you a few things. For one, tabletop. This slides right onto the front of the embroidery machine, and it's good for maybe some heavy items, or if you're doing something like a towel or a horse blanket or a big jacket sometimes, that's what this is for. Next, I talked about hoops that have little markings and lines on them for measurement. So if you need really close, exact measurements, you will see this has all types of tick marks and lines in it. So this is a particularly nice hoop. This is an Allied grid lock. Very cool product. Next, well, what if you don't want to do that tubular hooping, right? What if, or maybe you have an item where the friction can actually cause a little bit of damage by putting that friction in there. Well, that's what this is. This is a magnetic hooping system. So I got to put my toys down to show you this one. Particularly strong magnets. You would put your item here, backing, etc. Put this into place and snaps on. These are very popular, very easy to use, an additional accessory. All right, the next toy I have here is the clamp embroidery grip. So this is a gripping system. What you can do is you can loosen these, move these in or out, and then this grips down. I've done a karate belt here. I've done a dog leash on this. I've done shoes on this, a boot, a hat. I did a cowboy hat on this. So lots of very cool, interesting things where a hoop doesn't really work, but you need to hold it onto that embroidery machine well. Last, definitely not least, big embroidery, right? What if you have something big you have to embroider? For one, big jobs are great because they're worth a lot of money. They're expensive to do, which means a nice profit for you. So we'll talk about this border frame. This would typically be for maybe a towel or a big piece of material or drapery, home decor, pillow that maybe you're, especially if you're making things from material, right? If you're taking raw material, you're embroidering it and then making it into something, that's great for this. So you get a really big look. I'm fully inside this window. So that's typically what this is for. It's a great tool, easy to use. Typically goes well with that tabletop. All right, and next, this is just a typical tubular style hoop, but extra large. I'm 6'1". This is big, right? So this is a full front or a full back or a big towel or something like that. It's pretty rare to ever have to fill something up this big, but it does come with it. I could probably fit through this thing. I could hula hoop with this thing. So this is a big one. And you get a bunch of other smaller sizes too as well. Well, I hope you learned a lot today. There's lots in this video. So if you have more questions, be sure to go to ColDesi.com, live chat with one of our pros, or if you're talking to one of our experts already, jump in there with questions. We're happy to help you. Hope you learned something today. Thank you.